Eve Plumb, whose role as Jan Brady, made sure that her blossoming career would come to an abrupt end. But where did Eve Plumb disappear to after the Brady Bunch? In this video, we reveal rare photos and untold life stories about the life of Eve Plumb. Eve was born on the 29th of April, 1958 in Burbank, California. Her parents were entertainment giants. Her mother, Flora Plumb, was a talented Hollywood actress. Eve's father, Neely Plumb, did some work in the acting industry, but he was majorly known as a music producer. Her family gave her leverage, so young Eve had a grand entrance into the industry. At age 7, she was already appearing in commercials, and that same year, she landed guest roles in the TV series Family Affair, The Big Valley, and The Virginian. Before Eve would win that role that made her most popular, she also had a brief appearance in an episode of the 1969 American Western drama Gunsmoke. Plumb was cast as Jan Brady in the ABC sitcom The Brady Bunch at the age of 11. Sherwin Schwartz is said to have been looking for children who would not only fit the character roles, but who also had chemistry with one another. Plumb had already shown her talent in commercials and guest spots on TV series, which likely helped her stand out in the auditions. In the show, Jan Brady's character was often caught between the shadow of her older, seemingly perfect sister, Marcia, and the youthful antics of her younger sister, Cindy. Her most famous line, "Marcia, Marcia, Marcia," reflected her frustration at feeling overlooked. Plumb did a great job of bringing this character to life, giving a voice to many middle children who could relate to Jan's feelings of invisibility and struggle to find her place in the family. She left a lasting impression that became both the best and the worst thing for her. The series was canceled after it lost its place on the time slot, and Plumb's trouble began. She had been typecast with the Jan Brady character, and all attempts to break out proved unsuccessful. However, she did manage to land another big feature as a prostitute in the NBC television movie Dawn, Portrait of a Teenage Runaway. This was a successful project, but sadly, it still wasn't enough to resuscitate Plumb's dying career. The actress found success on her way down, reprising her role as Jan Brady in the series Reunion and films such as The Brady's Bride and A Very Brady Christmas. By early 2000, Eve Plumb had gotten very scarce on the screens, and it was all Jan Brady's fault. The Brady siblings had their various ups and downs, but they still managed to all stick together, right? But I'm afraid it was a different story behind the scenes. In The Brady Bunch, Eve Plumb's character, Jan, was constantly jealous of her older sister, Marcia, who was played by Maureen McCormick. We all thought it was just acts. Little did we know that this envy and jealousy would translate to such bitterness and hate offstage. In a 2016 interview, Susan Olsen, who played the younger sibling Cindy, revealed that these two Brady sisters had been enemies for decades. She said, "I think it's kind of petty. From day one with these two, I have always been put in the middle, and now it's at the point where there isn't even a desire to communicate through me." Beyond that, there have been rumors that Eve and Maureen refused to appear together in the 2010 Brady Bunch reunion, and that was why it was canceled. Eve's rage grew even stronger after McCormick used her to sell her 2008 book by implying a girl-to-girl relationship that never existed. Although to most people, this was the root of their strife, a source had revealed to Radar Online that their friction started decades ago. They've never liked each other, and there have been many events where Eve has said, "I'm not doing it if Maureen is doing it." Anyway, Eve believes that all that is behind them now as she tries to explain that she is not in a bad place with Maureen. You know, we're all grown up now, obviously, and we all get along like real people. But it was all a different scenario for Eve in her marital life. Eve was the first of the Brady siblings to tie the knot, but she learned a very important lesson after her short-lived marriage. The actress married Rick Mansfield in 1979. We don't know much about her relationship with Mansfield, but what we do know is that it was short, and Plumb confessed to having learned from her marriage failure. True to her words, her second shot at love proved to be the charm. Eve has been married to her husband Ken Pace since 1995. The couple decided not to have any children as Eve doesn't think she is ready to be a mother. "It's just not something that appeals to me, and I know that it's a really hard job, and it's not something that I was willing to take on," Plumb confessed in a radio interview. A lot of fans reacted to this, but she was not very concerned. She explains that she is rather much more open to the idea of adoption of older kids from foster homes. Eve Plumb and her husband recently celebrated 24 years of marital bliss, and the actress has never looked happier. Most people argue that Brady Bunch did Eve Plumb more evil than it did her good. And although this might seem outrageous, looking at the way Eve's career was almost swept under the carpet when the series ended, you are almost compelled to agree with them. According to Eve, she is tormented by Jan Brady's identity. "That's what's so disappointing to people, that I am not her," Plumb shared. "I had a waitress say to me, 'Are you Jan Brady?' And I said, 'I played her on TV,' and she yelled, 'No, but are you her?' This, among so many other reasons, was why she refused to reprise her role as Jan Brady in Marty Krofft's Brady Bunch Hour. But that was not the only reason, as the rumors would have us believe. She was also scared of making another 5-year commitment, and also the paycheck was not very encouraging. Well, she was replaced by Jerry Reichel, who was popularly known as the Fake Jan. The Brady Bunch might not have been a very profitable long-run investment for Eve Plumb, but here's another investment that Plumb made as a child that brought her almost great value decades later. When Eve was 11, after her first year as Jan Brady, the young actress purchased a $55,300 beach house in Malibu. And in 2019, the actress sold the house for $3.9 million. That's almost 10 times its value after adjusting to inflation. As much as Eve Plumb tries to run away from it, Jan Brady's character was a critical part of her success. And there's a pretty good chance that we might never even remember Eve Plumb's name without Jan Brady. Plumb was shocked to discover that a band was named after her. The rock band Eve's Plumb? "I've never met them. It's very odd," she said. The grunge pop band Eve Plumb worked with Sony in the early 90s, and they recorded and published quite a few songs. Their first single, Blue, had Jan Brady's face on the record. What is Eve Plumb doing now? Eve was born into the acting industry, so there was not much to explore after her acting career crashed. From 1983 to 88, Plumb took a break from the screen business. She returned with a role in the comedy I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka. Following this were her Brady Bunch reunion specials, which she said she only did because work is work. After this, Eve decided to explore her hidden talents, and that was how she discovered painting. So since the early 1990s, Plumb has been actively involved with the art world. She is a talented painter of still life, and she seeks to use her paintings as a medium to express her feelings and emotions. Also during this time, Plumb did a few theater projects, voiceover gigs, and stand-up comedy. According to her, she tried hard to avoid public attention as she seeks to enjoy a normal life. "I've chosen to live my life as normally as possible," she said. "It's funny, unless you are on the evening news every night, they think you're dead." But obviously, she misses life behind the camera, and in an interview she expressed her deep desire to make things right again. "I love TV. I want to be on TV," she said. "But Hollywood is all about getting in the door, and if I could figure out why I don't get any more calls, hopefully, I could do something to change that," Eve said. Her last on-screen appearance was in 2019 with her Brady siblings in the HGTV series A Brady Renovation. Eve still hopes to make a proper return to Hollywood, and until that day comes, we keep wishing her the best in her current endeavors. Eve Plumb, now 65 years old, doesn't look a day above 40. She shares an apartment in New York with her husband, Ken Pace. She has an estimated net worth of $7 million. If you enjoyed this video, please support us with a like, and be sure to check out the videos on the end screen of beautiful actresses from yesteryears.